Hi brothers and sisters.
Good morning.
Just a quick chat about truth. Yesterday in Australia was Australia Day. I don't know whether any of you know much about it, but there's a big feud with the Aborigines and they call it Invasion Day and instead of Australia Day. And they're very upset about the past and what's happened with them and who they are today in society. So we looked up society in the Hebrew and we found out that society is
It's a spell, an enticement.
And it's a charmer.
Charmer, yes.
So we look spiritually and abstractly at it, at those words, and we can see that society is man-made. It's made up of what they believe, what they think, and what the past was and what the future's going to be. So in our country we have many forms of different societies, but it all comes from the one word in the Hebrew, the original language that was given to Noah. So when we looked at Noah, we found out that Noah came back on the earth since Adam. He came back on the earth 2,105 years. That was after the flood. Now, if we believe the flood, if we believe the scripture, if we believe that the scripture was given to us by the Father in heaven, and a lot of people call him God. A lot of people know today that the name Yahuah, which has been interpreted, is the name of the Father, and the scripture says he wants us to call him Yahuah, and his son's name is Yahusha. So we have a foundation there. Do we believe in the flood? Do we believe scripturally that Yahuah gave one language to all the people? When Noah came to earth after the flood, when the waters subsided, he was told to fill the earth, procreate and fill the earth. And the families started moving and so forth until we had Nimrod, which is Noah's grandson. I just want to say here that we all came from Noah.
Yeah.
All the families of the world, all the different nationalities. Now, when we have different coloured people, that was the same as what you have with birds and dogs. You can interbreed them and get different varieties. The same thing was in Adam and Eve. When they had their children, they came out different colours, and it was a beautiful thing. It was considered a wonderful thing at that time. And so we have Noah's family, which was different colours again.
Yeah.
And they came down from the ark and started to spread through the world. But they only were still around the same area quite a while. And then Nimrod, Noah's grandson, broke apart from them, and he built the Tower of Babel. He built it to fight the Father in heaven, Yahuah. So he wanted to destroy the works and the words given to Noah. So there was a battle going on there all the time until the Father came and knocked down the tower and gave them different languages, which scattered them. Now from that scattering, we get the word culture, and people started to form their own culture, which is the same as a society. So it's all man-made, it's all charm and a spell, and so obviously it has a negative connotation with it, speaking of Satan. Now, when their languages were scattered, they wandered all over the world from there, and Noah's family kept going. And you know the story of that, Egypt and Moses and all that. So the rest of the population scattered all over the world, and we discovered, what year was this, darling? Yeah.
1765 BC.
Right. So they were scattered all over the world, and the world was different because it was destroyed by the flood. It said that the heavens opened and water poured down, and it measured the power and velocity of water hitting the earth would split it open. And this is when we had the tectonic shifts, and the nations, the land masses started to, or did split apart, and it was a different world altogether, because before Noah's flood they never had rain, and so there was a water canopy around the earth, and that's what fell in on the earth. So after that, man was destroyed. The first 2,000 years of life was destroyed. So from Noah up to today is 4,000 years.
Yeah.
So we've had the first two. Scripture says that Yahuah, God the Father, worked 6 days in creation, and the 7th day he rested. So it also tells us that one of the Father's days is equal to 1,000 of our years. So according to Scripture, we haven't come to the end of the 6th day, but we are now in the year 2022. So it looks like it's 22 years behind. But Yahuah said that if he doesn't come before the end of the 6th day, there won't be anyone left, because Satan wants to kill them all. Now we think that that's Shemayim, that's Yisrael, which is the chosen people. We don't think it's got anything to do with the people in the world. So we just want to say the Aboriginals are telling our nation that this land is theirs. It always was and always will be. There's an ad on television saying that. Always was, always will be. And they say they're the oldest culture in the world. And they say that they are 65,000 years old, their culture. Remembering culture is a spell, and it keeps, it's man-made, and the philosophies and everything that go with it are from man. They obviously took the beliefs from Babylon and brought them down to Australia. So when we look at the time, Noah was here 4,000 years ago. So we're getting to the end of the 6th day, obviously, and there's a mess up in the timeline, in the time that we follow. So obviously we haven't come to the end of the 6th day, because the Scripture is supposed to be true.
Yeah.
We're supposed to believe that. So the Aboriginals are saying they're 65,000 years old. Well, we dispute that with the fact that Scripture is supposed to be the word of Yahuah, the Father in heaven. And we are supposed to believe that and follow it. And it says, if we don't, we're going to be in for all sorts of misery and everything. We're rejecting the Father. So we dispute that the Aboriginals have been here for 65,000 years, because according to Scripture, it's not even 4,000 years since Noah. So we just like to bring this in to give you a history, and all the misery and drama that cultures around the world are causing are adding to the confusion. And if we follow what the Father in heaven, Yahuah, tells us in his word, then we'll be at peace. And the Aborigines want to sit down at the table and have a talk, like we're having a table talk now. So we dispute what they're all on about, but we have no judgment. We're not against them. We know what a culture is, what a society is, and it's misguided. It's missing the mark. So missing the mark means it's sin. So they're sinning against the Father in heaven with all the stories and details they have. It's not the history of Scripture. It's not. And it's on a false precept. So we just want to clear up the Australia Day mess if we can. If you're a believer, you can understand this. It's not hard to understand. It's easy. Even a child can understand and do the simple sum. 2 from 6 leaves 4. 6 days he worked, the 7th he rested. 7th is supposed to be the millennial reign. And we see that Yahusha, the Son of the Father, who came in the flesh and went through everything and died and shed his blood for us so we can be cleansed and have life. That's the only way you can get life, by following those instructions. So we just want to make this clear that if you believe Scripture, you believe Scripture. You have a way out. You have peace to come into your life through the blood of Yahusha. Apart from that, there's no peace on earth. And you can see the miseries that many people are going through. The miseries are from sin. Sinning, going against the Father's words. And our world is shot. And we can see that Yahusha gave us prophecies about what would be happening in the time at the end. If we open our eyes, we can see all the disasters that are coming on the world is not Satan. He hasn't got that power. This is the promise of the end times. Yahusha is judging mankind. He's judging his assembly as well. The sheep and the goats are being separated. He's judging. It's Yahusha telling men and women he's coming. And so we're rejoicing in that because of the hope of all the misery. Now, if people don't follow what the Father's instructions are, they are heading on the path of destruction. They will destroy themselves. So we hope this has been helpful and that you'll understand. You want to say anything, Dave?
I think that sounds great, because there's so many diverse cultures in the world and people having so many different ideas and all the multicultural situation, and we can see where society and culture comes from now and how it's been formed. They form it with the basis and the foundation from Nimrod. And that's why they're caught up in such dreadful lies and deceit. So they can know they can't get free unless they turn to Yahusha. There's no other way out.
So it's just a quick word for you. It's a little table talk on our balcony, and we just want to present this to you. It's lovely to see you all again. Bye.
Bye.